Is that really a human warship? The Galactic Empire refused to believe it. I am recording this because no one in the Admiralty believes me. They called me a liar. They called me a coward. They stripped my rank and sealed my testimony behind classification codes that will keep it buried for 1,000 years. But I am recording this anyway, because the truth does not care about classification codes. The truth is patient. It will wait. And when the next fleet crosses into that frontier and does not come back, someone will unseal this record, and they will know that I tried to warn them. My name is Victrin Solar. For 600 years I served the Thari Empire as a fleet commander. I led 400 warships, each one a throne-class dreadnought, 5 kilometers long, powered by singularity cores, armed with enough firepower to turn a planet's surface to glass in a single orbital pass. I fought in 11 campaigns across the outer territories. I brought 32 species to their knees. I was not a coward. I was the blade of the Empire, and I had never known defeat. Then they sent me to the Scutum Centaurus frontier to deal with a nuisance. Intelligence had detected activity in a region of space so far from the core worlds that most Thari had never heard of it. Apparently, a species from an unremarkable yellow star system had begun pushing outward into the buffer zone between their little pocket of space and Imperial territory. Our analysts classified them as Category 0, which is the designation we give to civilizations so primitive that they barely deserve notice. Pre-threat, insignificant. They called themselves humans. I found the assignment insulting. 400 warships to handle a species that had only been flying between stars for 300 years. The Thari Empire has existed for 12,000. We have ruled 9,000 star systems. We have seen empires rise and crumble like sand structures on a beach, and we have outlasted them all. Sending me to handle these humans was like sending a river to drown a single candle. But orders are orders, and I followed mine. We dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the frontier and immediately detected an object holding position near a barren moon. A single object. My sensor officer reported that it was a ship. I asked for classification. He hesitated. He said it did not match any known configuration in our database. We magnified the image, and I remember the moment I first saw it with perfect clarity, because my first reaction was to laugh. It was the ugliest thing I had ever seen. Blocky, angular, and asymmetric. It looked like someone had taken raw slabs of metal and welded them together in a construction yard without any concern for beauty or form. There were no energy sail arrays, no elegant curves, no ceremonial markings. Verslat, dark surfaces covered in matte black coating, with crude white letters painted on the hull. I could not read the human script at the time, but our translators decoded it quickly enough. It read, Uns Perseverance, CVX-01. It was roughly 1¼ kilometers long. Large for an uncontacted species, certainly, but a quarter the size of my own flagship. My officers made jokes about it. One of them said it looked like a cargo container that had grown engines. Another said it looked like a habitat module that had declared independence. We were all very amused. Then my science officer said something that should have ended the laughter. She said the energy readings did not match the ship's size. The power output she was detecting from that ugly metal box was equivalent to a throne-class dreadnought, a ship 5 times its size. She could not explain where all that energy was coming from, or what it was being used for. I told her the sensors were probably malfunctioning. I wish I had listened. I opened a communication channel and prepared to deliver the standard Imperial subjugation ultimatum. The same speech I had given 30 times before to 30 different species. Surrender. Disarm. Submit to vassal classification. Await Imperial governance representatives. A human appeared on my screen. She was small, even by the standards of a species I had been told was small. She wore a simple dark uniform with a name tag that read, Captain Anaya Marin. No ceremonial armor. No display of authority. She looked like a mid-level administrator on a routine assignment. I delivered the ultimatum, every word of it. She listened without interrupting. She did not flinch. She did not tremble. She did not make threats or plead for mercy. When I finished, she simply nodded, as if I had told her the weather conditions on the nearest planet. Then she said, Admiral, I appreciate the formal introduction, but I should let you know that the Perseverance is not a diplomatic vessel. It is a warship, and I have been authorized to inform you that Sol space is not available for annexation. You are welcome to leave peacefully. I have faced species that screamed defiance at me. I have faced species that wept and begged. I have faced species that launched desperate, suicidal attacks against my fleet. None of them unsettled me the way Captain Marin did, because her voice carried no emotion at all. She was not brave, she was not afraid. She was simply stating facts, as calmly as if she were reading coordinates from a navigation chart. I gave her one rotation cycle to reconsider. She smiled politely and said, "We will be here." During that waiting period, I ordered a full deep scan of the human vessel. My science team spent hours on it, and when they came back, they were not laughing anymore. Nobody was laughing. The hull was made of an alloy our sensors could not fully analyze. It absorbed scanning energy like a sponge absorbs water. In 12,000 years, the thari had never encountered a material they could not identify. The human ship was coated in one. The weapon ports were wrong. There were hundreds of them, far too many for a ship of that size, arranged in patterns that covered every possible angle of approach. No blind spots, no weak zones. Every centimeter of space around that ship was within the firing arc of multiple weapons. This was not how any known species designed their warships. We build ships to fight in formation, with broadsides facing the enemy. The humans had built a ship designed to fight alone against everything, and the power signature. My science officer finally convinced me to take it seriously. The energy output of the Perseverance was not just equivalent to one of my dreadnoughts. It exceeded it. A ship 1/4 the size of my flagship was generating more power than anything in my entire fleet. I should have left. I know that now. But I had never retreated in 600 years. And pride is a chain that holds you in place, even when wisdom screams at you to run. The rotation cycle ended. Captain Marin appeared on my screen again, with the same calm expression. "Admiral, same answer. We are not leaving." I gave the order to attack. Standard Imperial doctrine. 40 ships in the vanguard, arranged in a crescent formation, designed to envelop the target and concentrate fire from multiple angles. This tactic had shattered fleets 10 times its number. The Perseverance did not retreat. It did not try to evade. It accelerated directly toward my vanguard, at a speed that made my navigation officer gasp out loud. No ship that size should have been able to move like that. It closed the distance in seconds. Then it opened fire. I do not have words in the thari language to describe what I saw. The Perseverance did not use energy beams or plasma lances. Its weapons created something at the point of impact, a distortion that caused our ships to simply fold inward on themselves, crumpling like hollow shells being crushed by an invisible hand. 3 of my warships ceased to exist in the first 2 seconds. Not damaged, not disabled, gone. Then the impossible happened. The Perseverance split its fire. Hundreds of weapon ports activated simultaneously, each one independently targeting a different ship. My tactical doctrine states that a single vessel can engage 2 or 3 targets at once under optimal conditions. The human ship was engaging dozens. Every shot precise. Every shot a direct impact. My vanguard of 40 warships was reduced to drifting wreckage in under 4 minutes. 4 minutes for a force that should have taken hours to overcome. I ordered the full fleet to engage. All 400 ships. What followed was not a battle. I have fought battles. I know what battles look like. This was something else entirely. The Perseverance deployed thousands of autonomous machines from ports along its hull. Small, fast, and impossible to track, they swarmed through my fleet like insects, each one carrying enough power to disable a frigate. We had never seen this kind of tactic. The thari consider unmanned combat to be beneath a warrior's dignity. The humans, apparently, consider it practical. My ships did land hits on the Perseverance, hundreds of them. Our weapons struck that dark hull again and again, and I watched the impacts through my observation display, expecting to see breaches and ruptures. Instead, I saw the hull repair itself. The unknown alloy flowed like liquid metal, closing gaps, sealing fractures, regenerating as if the ship were a living creature healing its own wounds. The Perseverance then launched something toward the center of my fleet. Not an energy weapon, not a guided missile, just a dense metal object, accelerated to a speed I could not calculate. It passed through my flagship's defensive barriers as if they were not there, and went clean through the ship's center. My flagship, a vessel I had commanded for 200 years, broke apart in silence. I transferred my command to a secondary vessel and watched the rest of the engagement from there. The Perseverance moved through my fleet, performing maneuvers that should have torn any ship apart. Right-angle turns at full speed, sudden stops from velocities that should have reduced everything inside to pulp. It moved as if the laws of motion were suggestions, rather than rules. Then, halfway through the engagement, the Perseverance broadcast an open message on all channels. It was not from Captain Marin, it was automated. A machine voice, calm and measured. "Attention Thari fleet, you have sustained 70% losses. This vessel is authorized to offer ceasefire. Respond on any channel." 70%. I checked my fleet count. The machine was correct. I had lost over 280 warships. The Perseverance had not even slowed down. I gave the order to retreat. The surviving 110 ships turned and fled at maximum speed. The Perseverance did not follow. I watched on my long-range sensors as it simply returned to its original position near the barren moon and held station, as if nothing had happened, as if it had not just dismantled the most powerful fleet in the known galaxy in less than an hour. On the long journey home, I sat alone in my quarters and thought about what I had witnessed, and the more I thought, the more afraid I became. That was one ship. One. Not a fleet, not an armada. A single warship. And its designation was CVX-01, meaning it was the first of its kind. There were more, possibly many more. The humans had been spacefaring for less than 300 years. The Thari have had 12,000. In a fraction of our history, they had built something that could destroy us. Not match us, not challenge us, destroy us, casually, with a single vessel and a polite ceasefire offer at 70% losses. And the most terrifying realization of all was this. They already knew about us. They had been watching. They let us come to them. The Perseverance was not exploring. It was waiting. Captain Marin was not surprised to see us. She was expecting us. I delivered my testimony to the Imperial Admiralty. They refused to believe a single word. They accused me of cowardice and fabrication. They stripped my rank and confined me to my estate. And then they ordered a new fleet to the frontier. 2,000 ships this time, under a younger admiral who called me a disgrace at his promotion ceremony. 2,000 ships to fight a species that erased 280 of ours with a single vessel. They believe a larger number will produce a different result. This is not strategy. This is the final delusion of an empire that has never been told no. I have seen what humanity builds. I have seen how they fight. They do not shout, they do not boast, they do not make threats. They simply arrive, quiet and professional, and utterly without mercy, and they do what needs to be done. The age of the Thari is over. We simply have not accepted it yet. I am told the 2,000-ship armada crossed into the Scutum Centaurus frontier 3 rotation cycles after my return. They were met by 4 human warships. The engagement lasted 11 minutes.